Morning, everyone. I sure hope you had a nice week and a nice weekend. I did. I'm still at our mission house in Leawood, Kansas. My brother and I just finished a mission together at Nativity Parish here in Leawood, a wonderful mission. He's now heading to western Kansas for a mission, and I'm staying here because I have a mission across the state line over in Belton, Missouri. So once again, I ask you to, remember in your prayers our retired Vincentians in Perryville, Missouri, especially those who are in need of God's healing. And then there are some friends of the mission. People have asked for our prayers, and I'd like you to remember them in your prayers. And so if you would remember Brian and Clarence and Leonard, Mike, Stan, and Timothy. And also remember Anita and Louise, Mary and Nancy, Orstein and Pat. Please remember them, and we'll keep them in our prayers, and hopefully they receive their healing and miracle soon. So my reflection has a lot to do with just past this past weekend. This past Friday, I hope you had a chance, because our Holy Father had asked everyone in the world and asked all the bishops to have a special day of prayer for an end to the violence and the war in Ukraine. And maybe some of you missed it. I hope you continue to pray for peace. But I had something else on that day that was very special. It was March 25th. It was a feast of the Annunciation, a great feast. But what I remembered and what I prayed for on that day was for the 15,000 women from 100 countries who made a decision about renewing their vows. The Daughters of Charity. They were founded by St. Vincent de Paul and St. Louise because Vincent was so dedicated to serving the poor, and he just needed more people, and he wanted more people committed to it. And with St. Louise de Marillac's help, they formed this group of nuns called the Daughters of Charity. They don't have permanent vows. He wanted them to be people who serve the poor. So their cloister were the streets of the city. Their chapel was the parish church. And so they're unique in so many ways. But every year, on March 25th, they all decide whether they're going to continue. Obviously, if they chose not to, they don't have to go to Rome because they don't have permanent vows. They're unique. But their uniqueness isn't just because of their vow situation. Their uniqueness is because there are so many. I think they are the largest group of nuns in the world, serving the poor. And so I prayed for them in a very special way. And I want to remember their influence on me. The Daughters of Charity are quite responsible for me and my brother becoming Vincentian priests. They were in our parish in LaSalle, Illinois. And between them and the Vincentian priest, Dick and I joined the Vincentians. And today, as we do parish mission ministry, which was what St. Vincent de Paul founded us, we are always reminded about all that he did. But his and Louise's creation of the Daughters of Charity and what they have done all over the world is just something just remarkable. And so I pay tribute to them. I was reading a story today about about Henry, and I know Henry would be somebody the Daughters of Charity could relate to, and they would have a laugh or two about it. Henry, he probably imbibed and drank a little too much. And he had his own way of handling his life, but with his drinking, he wasn't really good about paying his rent. And he lived in a small little apartment and didn't have a lot of money. Paycheck to paycheck, if he had it. Sometimes he'd lose a job and get another one. And Henry drank too much. And finally, his landlord had it up to here. He's done with Henry. So finally he told Henry, he said, Henry, I'm giving you 2 days to pay your rent. And here's what the Daughters of Charity would have liked. Henry said to the landlord, okay, I'll take the 4th of July and Christmas. I laugh, and I'm sure the daughters would too, because they dealt with so many people. Continue to. Their service to the poor is something to behold. And so I prayed for them last Friday, as well as I prayed for the end of the war. The inspiration I have is to be as dedicated as they are. I want my commitment to the parish ministry to be more dedicated this year than last, and have the next mission more dedicated by my efforts than the last. That's an inspiration I received from the Daughters of Charity. They're really committed to what they do. My brother and I, we will always accept the invitation of the Daughters of Charity to do their annual retreat. And we have done it every summer. Dick is going to do one in Indiana this year, and I will do one in Maryland. And I will continue anytime they ask to conduct their retreat. So the inspiration from them, for me, is not only gratitude for what they did in the formation of my priesthood and my religious life, but also the inspiration of being dedicated and committed to the work that God calls us to do. So anyway, that's what I offer to you. Maybe if you had different nuns in your life, take the time today to thank them. If you had the Daughters of Charity, say a little prayer of gratitude to them. And so, as we always do, we finish, we ask God to take care of those people that need it. And so I ask you to join me in praying. Divine Savior, transform me into yourself. May my hands be your hands. May my tongue be your tongue. Grant that every faculty of my body may serve only to glorify you. Above all, transform my soul and all its powers, that my memory, my will, and my affections may be the memory, the will, and the affections of you. I pray you to destroy in me all that is not of you. Grant that I may live but in you, and by you, and for you, and that I may truly say with St. Paul, I live now, not I, but Christ lives in me. God bless. Thanks for tuning in again. Check us on Wednesday on our website. It's always good to check that website. Sometimes we're live streaming one of our missions like last week. So God bless. See you next week.